Kaapstad, die tuiste van ongeveer 3,7 miljoen mense. Die stad se mees suidwestelike gedeelte is die Skiereiland, waar die Tafelberg Nasionale Park se 220 vierkante kilometer strek van Tafelberg in die noorde tot by Kaappunt in die suide. Hierdie is bobbejane wêreld. Vasgekeer tussen die Atlantiese Oseaan en die mensdom is daar gevestigde bobbejane troepe wat se onderskeidelike gebiede van Constantia Neck al die pad tot by Kaappunt strek. Soos Eugene Maree gesê het, is bobbejane grootendeels burgers van die berge. Maar dit is die keuse se soektog na kos wat hulle na die meer laagliggende areas lok, na ons woongebiede, en dus na moontlike konflik met mense.
One of the first myths that we had to bust was that baboons love mountains. Baboons take refuge in mountains, but they love low-lying land. Same land that we like.
How many troops do we have?
16. 16 troops, 515 baboons and counting. You know, the numbers are going up every year. The population's gone, in the time that we've been working on them since sort of 2003-4, this population's gone from wobbling around a low number to thriving at over 500.
Dit is deels as gevolg van hierdie groeiende bevolking bobbejane, en ook weens 'n groeiende konsentrasie mense, dat kontak tussen spesies gebeur. Die probleem is dat hierdie kontak baie gou na konflik kan lei.
Whereas people wanted to live on the urban edge, they didn't want to face the natural situation of the urban edge, where you would have, if you start providing easy food for the animals that live above the urban edge, they very quickly are going to come along and take that food there, because it's easier for them to get food from you than it is to get in the natural environment. The main effect was we very quickly started to learn that instead of living an indoor-outdoor lifestyle, you now had to essentially keep all your doors closed. Your management of your pets became a major thing. You could no longer allow your pets to go outside or leave doors open for the pets to go outside.
The baboon can do, it gets its tooth in there. It got its tooth in there, and she flipped, she rolled, and it just cut her from there right the way across to the other side. So she had 42 centimeters of stitching, which was, and the skin came past that much. You were a bit of a mess, weren't you?
And there were two particular people, three that I know of, who actually shot baboons when they came.
A chap who shot a baboon in the face about that time, and another chap who walked into his sitting room in Scarborough and found a baboon there, and he had a collection of guns. He shot him with 7 different guns. There was blood all over the ceiling, all over everywhere. These are really nutcase people.
So, kan mens en bobbejaan in vrede saamleef? Die ouens wat hierdie vrede aktief probeer handhaaf, is die bobbejaan monitors. Opgeleide wildwagters wat daagliks 11 van die Skiereiland se 16 troepe monitor en seker maak hulle bly ver van bewoonde gebiede af.
The traditional baboon monitors were started actually by Baboon Matters, and then as things kind of got more conflict, they started trying to herd them away from the urban area, and then they would hold them in an area away from the urban area. It came to a situation of we don't actually want to herd them around in the national park, we actually want to have a fixed line, and the words holding the line came. We got support from the SPCA to use paintballs because they felt that the use of paintballs was far more humane than letting the baboons into the urban area. And then, of course, there's poisoning, they get run over, they get shot at and that.
Over the last 2 years, we've managed to keep them out of the urban area for 95% of the time, which is a huge success story.
Die probleem met hierdie taktiek, effektief of nie, is dat dit ongelooflik duur is. Die stad Kaapstad spandeer elke jaar ongeveer 10 miljoen rand net op bobbejaanbestuur. En hierdie koste is nie volhoubaar nie.
It's very expensive to manage the baboon program, and we need to sustainably look at a place where we can ensure a sustainable baboon population, but also reduce the cost as well.
Hierdie vorm van bobbejaanbestuur is nie net duur nie. maar dit weerhou ook die bobbejane van groot gedeeltes goeie veiding.
The problem that we've identified with this is that in order for them to be effective, humans, with these aversion things, is that they need the baboons to be very far from the urban edge. So we don't think that that's tenable in the long term. So what's happening in effect is you're exacerbating the original driver of the conflict by pushing them very far to achieve your goal of stopping raiding. The tools that we have don't work in the sense that you want to give them the most natural land as you can. You don't want to interfere with them when they're on natural land, and that's a problem, and that's where we are now. Fortunately, there's very good news, and that is that despite everyone saying that it would never work, a baboon-proof fence exists and works.
Een plek waar so 'n heining tot groot sukses ingespan is in Zwaanswyk in Turkye.
We started to build it in early 2012. Most parts of the fence were already in place by April 2012, and it was fully electrified by the middle of 2012. Since then, we've had a huge success, and people very quickly have gone back to living normal lives, and it's fundamentally changed people's lifestyles. I have for a very long time been convinced by the science which says that a properly managed fence, properly designed and properly managed fence, is probably the only way of separating the territories of baboons and humans on the urban edge.
Ondanks die feit dat beide monitors en heining suksesvol is, gaan bobbejane steeds dood. Party word deur inwoners doodgeskiet of vergiftig, en die owerhede self skiet jaarliks bobbejane wat hulle voel probleemdiere geword het. Vir party mense, soos Jenny Trethouen, aktivis en stigter van die Baboon Matters Trust, is hierdie onaanvaarbaar.
In 1990, the entire Kommetjie troop was culled because of a few baboons were coming down into Kommetjie, a few residents complained, and the standard way of dealing with problem animals at that time was elimination. In 2010, they came up with a new version of how to manage so-called raiding baboons. The problem with the protocol is that all baboons raid. Most commonly what happens is they leave their natal troop and they straight into urbanization. This is now classified as raiding behavior. It's not. They're leaving. They're looking for a way across the peninsula. So I objected strenuously to this protocol. I don't like it. To have killed 25 baboons on the protocol in 1 year, I think is a very high price to pay. And I question if it's actually necessary to kill the baboons to achieve management success. So I'm not saying the management has not been successful in keeping the baboons away from the villages. They certainly appear to have been very, very successful. Is killing baboons acceptable to achieve that success? To me, no, it's not.
Ons het vir Julia Wood gepols oor wat presies die stadsbenadering behels wanneer dit kom by die skiet van bobbejane.
Basically, the way we do it is that it has to be the most humane way, and I don't want to go into all the details, but basically it is the most humane way, and within the protocols, it either has to be a direct shot to the head, okay, which I think is to the head or the neck, which kills the baboon outright, or it has to be euthanasia. And really, it's the last resort, and then the permission has to be granted by Cape Nature. Obviously, the amount of baboons we euthanized has increased, but it is still per year less than the amount of baboons that the total death of baboons, which the total death of baboons were made up of no baboons euthanized, but baboons died as a result of conflict. Okay, whereas now we have less baboons that actually, in the end of the day, die, but more of them are euthanized, and that is better for the baboons because it is far more humane to be euthanized as opposed to die some horrible thing where you shot in the pellet within the stomach and you die the most excruciating death. So in terms of baboons, it's better to. I mean, if you were going to die, I would rather die being euthanized than someone maiming you and you have this long, horrible death. So So actually the baboon deaths per year has gone down, but the higher proportion obviously, and that's how it should be. Our big thing, and this is what we are really, really committed to, is making sure that there's a sustainable baboon population left. And a couple of years ago, no matter what everybody was doing, it was about like say 8 years ago, no matter what everybody was doing, the baboon population was declining. And since we've been properly managing it, the baboon population is increasing.
I don't believe that the success in keeping the baboons out of villages is to do with killing the naughty ones. I think that it's to do with very proactive management. And I certainly would be a lot more supportive if it didn't involve killing animals, because I don't believe killing animals for management purposes is acceptable on any level.